She held her passport tightly, her heart racing with excitement for the journey ahead. It was supposed to be the trip of a lifetime, a moment she had been saving and dreaming about for years. But at the crowded airport gate, everything shifted in an instant. A gate agent's eyes narrowed, his expression hardening. With one shocking move, he tore into her identity, leaving the crowd frozen in disbelief. What he did next wasn't just humiliating, it would change her life forever. The question is, why did he do it, and what truth was he about to uncover? She was only 19, her whole life ahead of her. Books, savings, and part-time jobs had all led to this single morning at the airport. Her name was Maya, a bright student, the first in her family to ever own a passport. For her, this wasn't just about travel. It was proof that dreams could break through barriers. She had planned every detail, the flight, the city she would explore, the notebook she carried to record it all. The terminal buzzed with travelers, families reuniting, businessmen rushing, children clutching toys. Maya stood among them with her small backpack, excitement glowing on her face. She checked her documents over and over, making sure everything was perfect. She had nothing to hide, nothing to fear, or so she thought. At the gate, she caught the eye of the airline agent. His glance lingered too long, his expression unreadable. Something about the way he looked at her made her uneasy, but she pushed it aside. After all, what could go wrong? She was just another passenger, another dreamer stepping into the world. What Maya didn't know was that this day, this journey, and this very moment would test her in ways she never imagined. The line to board the plane moved slowly, one passenger after another stepping forward, passports scanned with quick efficiency. Maya clutched hers tightly, her palms damp with anticipation. She had checked in early, her ticket printed, her luggage already loaded. Everything was in order. She had nothing to worry about, but when her turn came, the gate agent's hand lingered over her documents a little too long. His brow furrowed, his lips pressed together in a thin line. "Hold on," he muttered, loud enough for the people nearby to hear. He flipped through her passport as if searching for something that wasn't there. The passengers behind her shifted impatiently, but Maya stood frozen, confusion creeping in. The agent looked up at her, his eyes narrowing. "Where did you get this?" he asked, his tone sharp, suspicious. Maya blinked, startled. "It's mine," she whispered, her voice trembling. She had worked so hard for this, every stamp, every signature obtained legally, properly. Why was he questioning her? He smirked faintly, then held the passport higher, as if displaying it for all to see. The crowd's murmurs grew louder, heads turning, eyes darting toward her. Maya felt heat rising to her face. She wanted to disappear, but she couldn't. She stood there, exposed under the weight of strangers' stares. Then, in one shocking motion, the agent did the unthinkable. His hand gripped the corner of the passport and, with a deliberate tear, ripped into its cover. The sound was sharp, cutting through the hum of the terminal. Gasps erupted around her. A child cried. Someone whispered, "Did he just—" Maya's knees went weak. That small blue booklet wasn't just paper. It was her future. And now it lay in tatters, its pages fluttering in his hands. The gate agent's expression remained cold, almost satisfied. He tossed the torn booklet onto the counter as if discarding trash. "Step aside," he ordered. His voice carried authority, finality. Maya's throat tightened, but no words came out. She wanted to scream, to demand answers, but the weight of the crowd's silence pressed down harder than any words could. Behind her, the line stalled. Some passengers stared in shock, others shook their heads as though they had seen this kind of thing before. Yet nobody spoke up. Not one voice challenged what had just happened. Maya's heart pounded. This was supposed to be her chance, her door to the world. But in seconds it had been ripped away, not by fate, not by mistake, but by a deliberate act meant to strip her dignity. And the worst part? She could sense that this was only the beginning. Maya's breath came in shallow bursts, her chest tightening as the weight of humiliation crushed her. The torn passport lay on the counter, pieces scattered like broken dreams. She reached out instinctively, but the agent's hand slammed down on it first. His eyes locked with hers, cold and unyielding, as if daring her to resist. The crowd grew restless. Whispers spread like fire. Why would he do that? She didn't do anything. Phones were raised now, camera lenses capturing every second. Yet the agent didn't flinch. He straightened his posture, puffing his chest as though proving a point. "You don't belong here," he muttered, his words sharp enough to cut. Each syllable struck harder than the sound of paper tearing. For Maya, it wasn't just an insult, it was an attempt to erase her very identity. Her hands trembled. Fear surged through her veins, but so did anger. She had fought too hard to stand here, too hard to earn this moment, to let it be stolen in front of hundreds of watching eyes. The terminal lights glared overhead, intensifying the scene like a spotlight on a stage. A security guard began to approach, his expression unreadable, and Maya's stomach dropped. Was she about to be dragged away like a criminal, punished for daring to dream? The agent lifted the torn passport once more, waving it in the air as if to declare her guilt. Gasps echoed again, tension tightening in the room. Then he threw it down. The pieces fluttered to the ground at Maya's feet, a cruel gesture meant to reduce her to nothing. Her world seemed to stop. Around her, voices rose, some angry, some stunned, some silent in shame. But inside, one question burned louder than the noise. Was this the moment she would lose everything? Or the moment the truth about him would finally be exposed? For a moment, silence hung heavy in the terminal. The torn passport at Maya's feet seemed to scream louder than any voice. But then something shifted. A woman stepped forward, her phone still recording. "This is wrong," she said firmly. Another passenger joined in, shaking his head. Soon, a ripple of voices spread through the crowd. The gate agent stiffened, his confidence faltering under the sudden wave of witnesses. The security guard, now standing beside Maya, bent down and picked up the torn booklet. He examined it, glanced at her, then back at the agent. His jaw tightened. Without a word, he gestured for Maya to step aside, not as a suspect, but as someone who needed protection. Within minutes, a supervisor arrived. The crowd's murmurs turned into pointed accusations, phones capturing every detail. Maya's trembling slowed as the authority shifted. The agent's arrogance drained from his face, replaced by unease. For the first time, he looked small, cornered by the very truth he had tried to bury. The supervisor addressed the crowd, promising accountability. The agent was escorted away, his protests drowned by the whispers of passengers who would carry this story far beyond the walls of the airport. Maya's passport lay torn, but her dignity remained intact. As she clutched the broken pieces, tears welled in her eyes, not of defeat, but of defiance. She realized something profound. This wasn't just her fight. Her humiliation, her pain, had forced the world to look, if only for a moment, at the reality too many tried to ignore. She would rebuild. She would rise, and her story would not be forgotten, because in the end, one act meant to silence her had instead given her a voice louder than ever. The question now is, how many more stories like Maya's must unfold before the world finally listens?